Welcome to the Successful Nurse Coach podcast. On this podcast, Laura
and Shelby, both board-certified nurse coaches, show you how to make as much money as you want in private practice as a nurse coach.
Hello and welcome everybody back to the Successful Nurse Coach podcast. It is your host Shelby here today with a special surprise guest, the wonderful Sheila Ames. And Sheila has been a nurse coach for, almost 2 years now, Sheila?
Yeah, I graduated from the collective. I think I completed the program end of 2020.
Yeah. So we're creeping towards that 2-year mark. I've had the pleasure of supporting Sheila from the very beginning, and Sheila is someone who is relentless in pursuing this coaching practice, this coaching business. She refuses to give up, and her tenacity is something that I just admire so much. Also, she works with folks that, and we were just talking about this before we jumped in. Sheila, wears many hats within her niche, so I think it might be important to mention a few of them here. But Sheila is a whole foods, plant-based, I'll go ahead and say expert. Sheila, you've done a lot of this work yourself. You have also helped others with whole foods, plant-based. Sheila also really likes to work with brand new baby entrepreneurs of many different flavors across the board. Sheila is also a priestess. She likes to do inner alchemy work. She's into the woo and brings that into her coaching so beautifully. And I think that's what resonates most with her people, no matter who she's working with. She really does an excellent job here. And most recently, Sheila was telling me that she wants to be a voice or be a support, be a coach in her primary immune deficiency community. And I'll let Sheila speak a little bit more to that here in a second. But I know that immune systems seem to be a pretty big trend in our community. So having Sheila's voice as just in the mix of all of that, I think you have a lot to bring to the table. But did I miss anything, Sheila? Anything you want to add?
That was great. That was a great mix of all the eclectic combinations of what I do. So thanks for wrapping that up nicely.
No problem. And I think that the way you said that, I'm like, yeah, of course, that's who Sheila is. A wonderful, eclectic, vibrant, colorful human being. And that's reflective in your work as well. Okay, so we have Sheila on the podcast today to talk about this challenge that we run every so often in our group coaching programs, and we call it the No Challenge. We have done this challenge twice, and guess what? Sheila is the winner of both times we have done this challenge. Sheila gets out, and what I mean by the No Challenge is a lot of new nurse coaches live in fear of their first no. They might never make a proposal or make an offer to a potential client because they're afraid of hearing no. So in our group coaching spaces, we like to rip the Band-Aid off of that mentality. And the best way to get over it is to move through it most of the time. And Sheila got after it. We have a whole point system. We do a whole thing. But Sheila, both times you've gotten after this. And I think the first time we did the No Challenge, you had well over several hundred. Am I remembering that wrong?
I don't remember. I reached out. Yeah, I want to say there was. I think I reached out to 300 some people or something. I don't remember honestly. Yeah. It was a while ago. But this time, I reached out to like 100 and almost 200 people. I think this time around. But the difference between this time and the first time is that I wanted to be more clear with a no. Instead of just reaching out to people saying, hey, I'm Sheila, I would love to offer you a free pro bono spot with me if you would like to work on, X, Y, or Z. You get a lot of people who just don't respond at all because they're like, oh, whatever, I'm being sold to, or this or that, or that's what you think. That's what you assume they're thinking anyway. So this time around, what I did differently that I think was really empowering to me was I waited a week. And after a week, if I could see, because in Facebook Messenger, you can see when someone's read your message, if I could see that they read the message and they just didn't respond, I empowered them to let them know that, hey, it's okay if you're not interested in this, but I would love to know if that is your intent or not, so that I can pass this on to someone else who may better appreciate or want or need this service. Just let me know. And I hope you're having a great day, kind of message. And in that, I was surprised. I thought I was just going to get way more no's. And I did. I got more no's, but I got people like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I actually meant to respond to this and I got distracted, my kids, this or that. I totally want to do this. And that was exciting. And I ended up getting a lot more deep dives on the books because of that.
Yeah. So I think that's a really, just such a beautiful reminder that y'all, most of the time, it's just not about us. What Sheila has proved in her follow-up and by sending that second message is that people are busy, that people have their own life, that how many times have you picked up your phone and read a text message and put it back down and then just accidentally forgot to respond? So it can be appropriate sometimes to give people the benefit of the doubt and know that it's not personal. When people don't respond right away or forget, we can always follow up in these. And I love how, because I remember you came to the call that week, Sheila, and you're like, because part of the criteria in the no game is that like, if people ghost you, you don't get as many points. You have to like get a clear no for it to count. And so Sheila's like, I'm just going to make people tell me no. I'm just going to make them own it. And you did. And
it's empowering. It feels icky when someone does not respond to you. It feels like this open-ended weirdness. And then you're like, well, what are they thinking? Are they thinking that like I'm being salesy? Are they thinking that like my service sucks? Are they thinking like, we automatically go to this negative space, and it's not always about that. So it helps you as the coach to be able to feel more clear on that. Like, oh, actually, no, they just weren't interested, but they just thought they were okay with just not responding. And that was a good no enough. Or they think, or they really did want it. So it also closes it up on their side as well, because on their thinking, maybe they are feeling weird about it. And then they always have that feeling left over about you afterwards. So you're clearing it up for both of you by doing that.
Very, very well said. I hope that every new nurse coach that is listening right now lets that sink in of this is how to powerfully do it. Sheila's sharing all of her wisdom right now with all of you on how to empower others to give their no, because, we tell our people all the time that coaching to a clear yes or a clear no is like of the utmost importance, right? That your no carries just as much value as your yes, because if you're saying no to this, then you have bandwidth to say yes to the right thing or the next thing, etc. And Sheila, whenever people followed back up with you and told you like, actually, I'm just not interested, or this doesn't feel like the right fit, how did that feel for you?
It felt great, actually. Well, of course, I got the points, and like, here I am, the winner of the no challenge. But beyond that, it just felt nice and clear and clean. And it's like, okay, I understand your intentions. You understand my intentions, and we can move on. And I can wish you a wonderful rest of your day. And I hope, whatever you choose to do is going to be wonderful for you. And they can wish me the same. And sometimes it even opens up another conversation, another connection with that person that I've had a few conversations outside of that. They're like, no, actually, I'm not really interested in that. And, I've got this thing going on or whatever. And it's something I connected to. And I can respond with, oh yeah, I love to do that too. Actually, that's so cool to hear that you like to do that. And then we'll have a conversation, but I'll let it go at that point. But that'll set in. Mm-hmm. And possibly that person later may be like, oh yeah, Sheila, she does a coach. And oh yeah, that's right. She likes to knit too, or whatever it might be that we made the connection over. So, this really truly is all about building relationships, whether or not it's a coaching relationship or not currently. This is all about creating relationships. And that's what I love. I love this about coaching, just making that deep personal intimate connection to people on a deeper level than your, common, hey, how you doing? Well, I'm doing well. How are you? Okay. End of story. That's how most day-to-day conversations go. And we get to go deeper. We get to go more than that, even if it's just a Facebook Messenger conversation.
Totally. If we were in person, Sheila, I'd be like, louder for the people in the back, like preach, keep going here, my friend. I'm curious though, because as you're speaking, there's like such confidence in your voice about doing connection, doing outreach. You have a lot of really powerful experiences under your belt at this point. You've done this many times. If you can rewind a little bit, Sheila, in the very, very beginning, being a new nurse coach, was hearing no like a fear that you had that we navigated through? Like, was that a thing?
No, not at all. Just kidding. I just wanted to say no. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we're raised in this culture, this society that no is bad. Receiving a no is bad. Giving a no is bad because you might make somebody feel bad for saying the no. But there's so much power behind the word no. The word no helps you identify you as a person. It helps you to identify your likes, your dislikes, your wants, your things that you don't want. It identifies you. It creates boundaries. It creates safety net. No, a no is a wonderful thing. And when it comes to if you're saying no and how it makes somebody else feel, the reality is it's not the person's responsibility who says no and how the other person feels. It's the person who reacts to that and how they choose to react to receiving a no is a responsibility, because we all have the choice on how we're going to receive anything from anybody, whether it's a yes, whether it's a no, whether it's an I love you and I hate you. How are you going to react to that? And how are you going to use that situation to empower yourself or to better understand your life or your situation or anything like that? Yeah, I think that's what I'd like to say.
Hell yeah. So a little fun fact before we started recording, Sheila was just like pouring out wisdom like left and right. And I was like, whoa. We should have started recording before. And I'm glad to see that it didn't go anywhere, Sheila. It's still very present. And yeah, I think that like, that's such a powerful point of at the end of the day, what you're saying no to helps you define who you are. And if we can help our clients do that, if we can offer a little bit of room, even in an invitation for a free coaching session for someone to own their no, who it's not the right time. Like, I have no idea how that ripples out into somebody's life, Sheila, but like, I also do know that you spent the whole month of, end of March, beginning of April, opening 200 doors with people. And like, we don't know how that plays out over the next years, months, days to come. The potential there is really cool. And I don't know that, well, that's not true. Now I know that I've definitely reached out to more than 200 people. But the very first no challenge, when you reached out to 100, I was like, this is the first time anyone's ever done that before. Maybe the first person I knew to do that or get really close was Laura. But like the idea of that just like really blew my mind. And for anyone who's listening right now that also did the no challenge, we have several high contenders. Like we had quite a few of our nurse coaches who got close to the 100 mark and who are ripping off that Band-Aid and reprogramming a new story on what it means to be told no.
Well, Shelby, I am a challenge junkie. So put me to a challenge. True. And I know you're a Taurus. I'm a Taurus. I'm hard-headed. When I say I'm going to do something, damn it, I'm doing it. Like I'm going to go full force, bullheaded, watch me run with a strong head. So, not to say that I don't always win, other things. And there's times where I totally feel like a failure. Like, this last session I had with you, I was just full on bawling my heart out, and feeling like a failure. And that's part of the process. It's part of this wonderful journey we all chose into nurse coaching.
and to provide a little perspective on that, Sheila and I had our coaching call like today's a Thursday. We had it on Tuesday. And yeah, I mean, that's also something I really appreciate about Sheila is I never have to wonder how she's really doing. She's so open and transparent that I know. But like the confidence in your voice that you have right now just wasn't present on Tuesday, and just how freaking awesome you are for a huge change of state very, very quickly. You're showing up as Sheila 2.0 this Thursday, which is really also awesome to witness. And also what you said about doing challenges. Like, I think that if any room for us to make business fun, or to make maybe the parts that we don't prefer more fun, then that's like the hack. It's like a total biohack for your business. Yeah, it even gets me more curious, Sheila, like what else could we make a challenge for you to make it more incentivizing to do
well, you
stuff?
mentioned a yes challenge. You mentioned a yes challenge at some point. Yeah, give me a challenge, and I want to see who are my competitors here. Who's gonna push me even more? Because that's what this is about. Is you don't grow without being uncomfortable, without pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, and we've got to push each other.
Totally. And we do put like a dollar amount to these challenges. We like to incentivize with dollars on the table. I think that can also be a good motivator too. But even in our groups, it's what I love so much about the people who come in is that it was a total competition, but it was a healthy one. It was one where we supported one another, that there wasn't any like typical cliche weirdness about it. So it's a situation to where like when Sheila wins, we all win, because 200 more people know about freaking nurse coaching. Like that's freaking awesome. That's amazing.
Totally.
Also, Sheila, if you don't mind, can we talk about, because I can imagine the questions coming into the Facebook group of like, okay, so Sheila reached out to 200 people. How many calls did that lead to? Or like, how many people said yes in either way, if initially or the follow-up?
I want to say I got like 15 calls on the books out of that. Is that so? Yeah, I think that's about right. I think I got about 15 calls on the books. I've got one person signed, and I've got another person who may sign this next week. It was such a freaking powerful coaching session. I just had it yesterday actually, and I was on such a freaking high from it. I love it when these coaching sessions like leave me on a high. And I think that was like one of my big shifts yesterday from Tuesday to today, was just how amazingly I was able to serve this person. And, it just gets me all excited and giddy, and reaffirms why I'm doing what I'm doing. And, you even asked me on Tuesday, Sheila, are you considering quitting? And, and now here I am, like, look at me, I'm, empowered and love what I do and everything's great. And it just really shows the roller coaster ride that this is, because it is such a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. It is such a roller coaster.
Yeah. Wow. And also, I know Laura and I have touched on this before, of when life sucks. We did a whole podcast episode on this, of when life is just sucking, serving pulls you out of the pits faster than most things. And that's exactly what you did, Sheila. You put on your coach hat, and without disclosing any details, just the stuff you're navigating in life right now is heavy and it's hard. But at the same time, here you are. Like all of the things are true. And yet here you are right now, riding the high of a really amazing coaching call.
I even considered rescheduling because I was feeling so low and so bad. And I was just like, no, I don't want to do that. I can do this. I can wrap my head around this and pull myself up by the bootstraps and, wash my face and get the tears away and be the powerful Taurian priestess that I am, and get myself out there and serve and really give, because I deserve it and because they deserve it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And there was another thought I had there, Sheila, of showing up, serving. When I kind of want to speak to a little bit, like some people might be listening and feel a little shock of, oh my God, Sheila reached out to 200 people and I'm using air quotes here, and only got 15 calls on the books. And I can preemptively sense a little bit of panic about the numbers. And I kind of want to provide a little bit of context to that. I have, if it was more HIPAA compliant, I would share this in our Facebook group also just to paint a fuller picture. But I have a tracking sheet myself of like the first, I think like 4 or 5 months of business on the volume of people that I reached out to. Cause I wasn't really clear on my niche in the beginning. I was just, anyone who said yes was my ideal client at that point. And on this spreadsheet, I have probably 500 or 600 names over. Sheila powered through and got 200 in 1 month. I spread mine out over a little bit more time, but out of 6 months of doing outreach, and granted, I wasn't very good at it. I didn't do this empowering method that Sheila is sharing with all of you right now, but out of all of those people, I had maybe like 20, 25 calls and like 5 or 6 clients in the first 4 or 5 months. So it is that those number conversions are pretty standard in the beginning. And I just got off a coaching call with another one of my year-long groups right now. We were talking about connection and how important it is. And it's literally the most important thing you can be doing in your practice in the beginning until you have a full roster. It's not always like that. For Sheila, it will not always be like that. But until we have a healthy referral base that feeds itself, this is just like the name of the game. And it does not have to be on social media. It doesn't have to look how it looks for me or for Sheila, but you have to be connecting with some people in some capacity and telling them what you do so that they know that you're a resource for them. And so if anyone just had a mini heart attack, deep breath. This is why you hire somebody to help you through those extremes. Cause I won't lie, it's tough. It's like not everyone's ideal way to go about things. We just wish people would show up in our inbox with their credit card number.
Eventually one day. But, I think it can feel overwhelming in a way to think of it that way. But the other way to flip that script is to know that that's the expectation. So it's like, okay, well, if I want to get one paying client, how many people do I need to reach out to? And then just know, and then just boom, send out all your reach outs. And then you know that you're going to hopefully possibly get, a client and know that you're within that range. And that's actually, I think, kind of more helpful in a way to have an idea of what that expectation is.
Yeah, that's a really good point too. Another iteration of how we are always in charge of what thought we entertain, right? Because you could look at 200, 300, 400 people and panic, or be like, okay, the number's 400. What is the most efficient way to get there? Who do I need to help get me there? Who are those 400 people? And choose to, the word that's coming to mind is attack it. That seems a little aggressive, but choose to be after it rather than that number chasing you around.
Mm-hmm. There's another part to this that I didn't really talk to you about yet, or we haven't brought up. And
ooh, a surprise.
That's the idea. I just came up with it. I mean, just remember this as you were talking, was the idea of choosing who not to offer to. And in the no challenge, you don't get any points for that at all. So it kind of works against you in the point ways, but in another way, it's more empowering knowing that this isn't the right person to offer to. Because if you offer something to somebody, knowing that they're not really meant for you or going to be, you're probably going to get a no. And then you got to go through the emotions of the no. Like, do no's still affect me, still make me feel not, liked or wanted or whatever? Yeah, sure. I still get those feelings. I want people to say yes. Yeah, of course I want people to say yes. But I won't let myself get as down as I used to with a no. So when I meet somebody and I can tell that they're not right. I had 3 people of those 15 deep dives that actually 4 people I didn't even bother to offer a proposal to. And that felt good to me, actually. Mm-hmm. That felt really clear to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I'm just being like, yeah, Sheila, whatever you say, everything is so amazing coming out of your mouth right now. And it's so true, because in the beginning, we encourage so highly to keep coaching. Anybody who says yes is your ideal client, we don't necessarily have the total luxury of telling everybody no yet. However, with a big caveat there of, if you have an initial session with somebody and something is just not right, your nursey spidey senses are going off, and or maybe they're not, and you just are like, this isn't super exciting for me, you are totally in control. You do not have to make an offer. You are not working in the hospital. And when coaching, it's my belief that if you aren't excited about the goals that your client is working on, or if you're not excited about their vision, then we don't have any business supporting them, because there is another coach that exists that can do it with more enthusiasm than we can. And that's important as coaches. So
plus, I would feel morally wrong offering a proposal to somebody that I didn't feel great about and taking their money, and then sitting there, taking their money, going to coaching sessions, and then the coaching sessions aren't impactful. They're not transformational. They're not helping them get from point A to point B, and you're just taking their money. Like that, it feels wrong.
Yes. And this is the essence of the no, and why it's so important, whether it's a no for you as the coach or a no for the client. This is why we don't talk anybody into coaching or working with us. This is why we don't convince or coerce, because of what Sheila just said right there. Super, super important takeaway.
Yeah, it definitely feels more authentic.
Totally. Absolutely.
And I think that's important to every new nurse, is to feel authentic in their business. We don't want to be salesy. We don't want to come off as being something we don't want to be, or that we're not.
Mm-hmm. Right. We've spent long enough not doing that. It's about time that we have the space to do it.
Love it.
Yeah. All right, Sheila. So as we begin to wrap up here, is there anything else that feels important to mention? A piece of wisdom to the new nurse coach listening to this? Anything you want to add?
You have to work with a coach. You just have to. There's, like I mentioned, whoever it is that you align with, like I mentioned, this is a freaking roller coaster ride. This is emotional. This is hard. This pushes your buttons. This makes you question yourself in so many ways. And the only way you're going to make it is keep at it, keep at it, keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. And be open and honest and upfront and real and vulnerable and raw to your coach, and cry and yell and get mad and all the things, because you need to express the feelings. And it feels good. And thanks, Shelby, for taking in all of mine, because I sure as hell have. You've seen a lot with me. So thank you.
Absolutely. It's a complete honor. And whenever you sign up to work with somebody for a year, it is unrealistic to expect that you're going to have a totally out of the park week every week. And that's why Laura and I do so much of our own inner work, is so that we can hold the space when things are rocky. Like we can hold down the fort when it all doesn't make sense, and move through it with you. And I tell you this all the time, Sheila, but I just always appreciate you showing up right where you are. It makes it a lot easier to support you and help and be of service. But I also really appreciate you sharing some straight, amazing fire wisdom with all of our listeners today. This was just such valuable advice that you could give out and share your experience. And we are so appreciative of you.
Well, thank you. I am honored to be here. I'm honored to have been able to win the challenge and be here with you on on the podcast. And here soon after, I'm about to go into another proposal call. So cross your fingers, wish me luck that I'm the right medicine for them and that I can help solve their things. We'll see where it goes.
Perfect. Well, we will be sending you good juju for that, Sheila. And if you would like to connect with Sheila, find her on the internet. We're going to list all of Sheila's stuff down in the show notes. She is also in our Facebook group, The Successful Nurse Coaches, where we hang out. So please feel free to come join us there. That's where we're most active, is in our Facebook group. Lauren, myself, and even Sheila too. Sheila chimes in quite a bit in our Facebook group. So if you're looking for community and support, come find us there, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.